welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about the new deposit summary report. And this report is really a great tool for helping reconcile all of the transactions in your ClassJuggler account back to your bank statement as well as back to your merchant account statement if you're accepting credit and debit cards. While we've always had reports for doing customer payments and company billing, this deposit summary report will really kind of condense down the information to make it much easier to be sure you're reconciled with your accounting software. So let's jump in and take a look at this new report. So I'm going to go right to my reports menu, and I'm going to come down to our financial reports section, and you'll see down here the new deposit summary report. There's quite a few options that we can use to run this report. The first thing is choosing a report type. By default, ClassJuggler is going to show us all payments, but I can also limit it to check payments, cash payments, all credit card payments, specific credit card payments, or other payment types, things like PayPal, exchanges, other things. To get started, I'm going to just leave the report type at all payments so we can kind of see this report in action. And much like other ClassJuggler reports, you have a number of other filters that you can use to select which customers' payments you would view on this report. I can filter by payment group. I can filter by the status of the customer, active, inactive, or prospect, what category I have them assigned to, the date, which could be a day, a single, an entire month, a week, or any other time period that I want of 1 year or less. I also have a couple additional options. This first checkbox is to only show gateway credit card payments, essentially ones that you have run through ClassJuggler directly through the authorized.net or other gateway that is connected to ClassJuggler and your merchant account. Other credit card payments that could have been entered might have been payments received in another merchant account, or possibly through a terminal that you may keep on site as well. Since those payments aren't automatically entered into ClassJuggler, they would be considered credit card payments, but not ones run through the gateway. So again, if we only wanted to see gateway payments, I could check this box and it would filter out any other credit card payments we entered in from external sources. I can also group the credit and debit payment types together. So instead of seeing credit cards broken out by American Express, Discover, MasterCard, and Visa, they'd all be grouped into one line item called credit cards. Then I also have two sort and subtotal options. The default one is grouping the results by the payment type. Again, this would be cash, check, or the individual credit card types. I can also choose a second type of sorting and subtotaling, which allows me to group by payment date, then grouping by the payment type. And this is good if I want to do a full month's reconciliation. Why don't we go ahead and run this with just the default amounts. I'm going to choose a month where I know I've got some sample data in my system. I'm going back to April. And I'm going to just click on Generate Report. And when that's completed running, it's going to open up that report in my Adobe Acrobat Reader. I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit. And here's the full report of the deposit summary. And what this has done is it's taken all dates, in this case the full month of April, and it's broken this down into totals and subtotals for the different types of payments received in alphabetical order. So starting with American Express payments, I had 4 of those, no refunds, total of $344.99 in payments for a net deposit amount of $344.99. We can look at cash, 5 payments received, 1 refund. We received $595 in payments and we paid back out a $55 refund to a parent, which left us with $540 total deposited in cash in the month of April. And continuing down the line with checks, our Discover cards, MasterCards, other, and Visa cards. And then I can see my grand totals at the bottom. 370 different payments were received. We had 4 refunds. Payments total $37,664.95. $266.50 in refunds, which left us with a net amount of $37,398.45. And this is just a great snapshot, consolidated view of all the payment activity you received in a particular month. And this makes it really easy to compare back to your bank statement and your merchant account statement for accuracy. Let's run this a little bit of a different way. Let's just keep everything the same except for the sort and subtotal options. Now, instead of grouping by payment type, this is going to break up those deposits by date, then by payment type. So I'm going to run the same report. And here are the results of that. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down to a single page so we can look at this. And you'll see this is between April 1st and April 40th. And starting with the first date, which in this case is April 1st, I can see all the different payments that were received and recorded on that date with their total counts, refund counts, payment refund amount columns, as well as the net deposit amount. And then I get a daily total highlighted in kind of a light gray color to make it stand out on the report. Same thing for the 2nd of April. I only had checks and Visa deposits on those days. On the 3rd, I had MasterCard Visa. 4th, I had cash MasterCard and Visa. And then continuing on, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th. Go to my next page. I've got the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th. You may not have entries for each and every date. In this case, you can see I went from the 16th to the 18th. I had no payments recorded on the 17th. But as we continue forward through the month, I see the remaining days where I did receive and record payments, along with that final grand total line, which then corresponds to everything that was received in that month. So that's the deposit summary report. It's a very useful report again for doing your monthly reconciliation. It's also handy for putting in your consolidated entries into your accounting system. And again, comparing it back to your bank statement, merchant account statements, just to make sure everything is synchronized and all the payments and deposits that you've actually received and deposited in your bank account have been recorded accurately in ClassJuggler as well as your accounting system. Well, we hope you enjoy the deposit summary report and find it very useful for your business. And thanks so much for attending today's webinar.